please share your screen.
Thank you. So my talk will revolve around the importance of the arachnoid membrane in skull-base surgery. I spent quite a few years in Hanover with Professor Sami, and of course I learned many things from him. But I think one of the most important things that I learned was the way which he was treating the arachnoid membrane. And as it relates to skull-base surgery, it is very important to be cognizant of the fact that skull-base tumors, benign skull-base tumors, they really behave in two substantially different ways regarding the arachnoid membrane. And this is a slide that has been taken from Miyazaki in operative neurosurgery. You can see in the upper portion, you can see a schwannoma or a meningioma. Schwannoma or meningioma, they are usually covered by their own arachnoid membrane, but then they are separated from the other sister by a more or less developed arachnoidal membrane. And what is the surgical importance of that? The surgical importance of that is tremendous, because if you preserve the interface between the tumor and the arachnoid membrane of the surrounding sister, and you do not enter them as much as you can, then that's the best way to protect the neurovascular structure that are present in this other sister. And that applies no matter if you are operating on a posterior fossa vestibular schwannoma or a medial sphenoid or any other type of tumor. On the other end, there are other tumors like craniopharyngioma, for example, or epidermoid, that they develop inside the arachnoid membrane. So really, there is no arachnoid membrane that separates these other tumors from the surrounding structure. So that's why surgery of craniopharyngioma is objectively much more difficult than surgery of meningioma or vestibular schwannoma, because the craniopharyngioma is a tumor that grows in the subpial space, and therefore, when we try to peel the tumor from the surrounding brain, it's very difficult. And sometimes we see beautiful pictures of the inside of the third ventricle and all the structures that are inside the third ventricles. We can see all the way to the A1, the A2, and what's not. But what we sometimes forget is that in order for us to have this beautiful view, we must go through a very important structure that is the floor of the third ventricle, that is the diencephalon, the hypothalamus. And that's why many times after we have a beautiful intraoperative picture and a complete removal of a craniopharyngioma, nevertheless the patient is left with significant and devastating long-term neurological problems. So it's very important, and that's what I learned from working in Hanover for 2 years with Professor Sami. It's very important to be aware of the fundamentals of neurosurgery. The fundamentals of neurosurgery, as well as the fundamentals of any other human endeavor, they represent the building block, the building material on which a science, a discipline is built. And you can really, it's very difficult to be proficient in any human endeavor unless you master the fundamental. You may, of course, there are several examples in human endeavors of people who have transcended the fundamental. For example, Picasso, he developed a way of painting that clearly went well above the fundamentals, but many people forget that Picasso was also a masterful masterful artist in a tradition